I am Shannon with Pickin Boots Vintage. I hope you can hear me. I have a wireless mic on because I'm outside and there's a lot of noise. If you can hear me, can you please just say yes or give me a thumbs up? If you cannot hear me, a thumbs down or just say no because I will take it off. But I tested earlier and it did work. Okay, so this is my shop sign, and I am going to, oh, there's a message. See if they can see that. Here, can they see? Can you hear me? Okay, she just answered. I just want to see if they can hear me. Okay, good. I see yes. Thank you. Okay, so this is my shop sign here at the shop. We're outside. It's Florida, so I have a hat on. It's 90-something degrees, 100% heat index. So this might go a little faster than normal, only because it's hot and I don't want to faint. Anyway, my name is Shannon and I'm with Pickin Boots Vintage in Fort Myers, Florida. And this is a sign we have outside the store. It's a great piece. However, I don't know if you can see these trees in back here. Everything is the same shade. So it kind of gets lost when people come around the corner and they don't really see it. So today we're going to brighten this bad boy up. This has already been painted with the Dixie Belle. So I'm just going to simply repaint it with Dixie Belle. I did clear coat it with gator hide last time. But before I get started, I just want to show what I created last week. I do Technique Tuesdays for the Pickin Boots Facebook page. And we have these trays. We have a whole bunch of them. We're going to be doing class on them very soon. It was a very shiny tray, so we used the Dixie Belle Slick Stick. And after the Slick Stick dried 24 hours, we painted it. And then we put some fun things on it. But this was the final product. I know some of you were wondering what it looks like. Okay, so let's put that aside. All right, so I bet you're wondering what color are we going to paint this? All right, well, first color, which I love, is Florida Orange. Now this is one of the discontinued colors. However, you can still get in the 16 ounce. I'm going to use my favorite brush in the world, the oval medium. You always want to get your brush a little damp, just a little bit of water on it. Makes the paint slide off it a lot easier. Yes, I'm going to be doing 2 coats on here, but because it's so hot outside, it'll dry really fast. All right. Love, love, love the orange. Already, it is so much brighter. Yes, but can you hear it? All right. I'm giving it just a nice even coat. You can still obviously see where it says Pickin Boots Vintage through here, but we will put another coat on there. Now this Jeep door, it's actually a Willy Jeep door. There's a little bit of history behind it. It comes from Wisconsin. I have a friend who used to be a vendor in my store. Her name is Diane. And she sent me a picture one day. She's like, look at these doors. What do you think? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. So we created a awesome storefront door. So there's the orange. Now around it, I'm going to use the Honky Tonk red, which is also a much, much brighter color than... Apologize, the wind is blowing out here, guys. I hope it's not too bad on my microphone. But I can't bring this in the store. Anyway, already you can see such a difference. And because it's something that's outdoors, Obviously, it doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just trying to put a light enough coat on where it will dry, because I would love to be able to put the stencil on showing, oops, hope I don't fall, showing the new logo that I have, because this one was really kind of boring. Now for the stencil, I just simply use my Cricut. Most of you probably have one. If you don't, you can go on Etsy, and there are several people on there that will be happy to cut you a stencil for very, very, very cheap price. Okay. Oops, paint is flying. All right. So I've got my first coat down. Let's take a peek at what it looks like. What a difference. It's so much brighter now. I'm going to go ahead and add my second coat of the Florida orange. I just want to shake it up. I want to make sure I get... All right. Like I said, I'm down here in Fort Myers, Florida, and it's really hot out here. So the paint dries very quickly. Second coat of the orange. And you'll notice that, yeah, there's some separation, but I'm going to go back and blend it. I just want to get this down first. I'm starting with this orange here because I'm hoping that it'll be dry enough that I can actually lay the stencil down and finish the new sign with the stencil. Woo, it is hot. And of course, if it's not dry enough when I go to do the stencil, I will definitely post pictures of the final project in the comments. This one here, I don't know if you can still see the outline of the truck. That was a vinyl stencil sticker that we put on there, so the outline is still there, and I wanted it to stay there because it's kind of raised. It's almost like the embossing cream, and that will stay on there because it was already on there before we started painting. Yes. All right, there we go. Now let's go back to the Honky Tonk red, and we're going to start actually blending the edges. The most important thing with blending is your misting bottle and of course your oval medium brush. Huge. Another thing is, because I'm outside, the sun is probably drying my brushes really fast too, but with the scrubby soap, it's okay if the paint is a little bit dried on because those scrubby soaps are miracle workers. Yeah, I know. If I recommend anything to my customers, it's the scrubby soap. They go hand in hand with all the Dixie Belle brushes, because if you're going to invest in such a great brush, you may as well take care of it. Yes, the sun is doing numbers on this. It is really getting it. It's really drying fast. Okay, go up. Hold on. Again, I'm using Honky Tonk red and Florida orange. Okay, so I'm going to put my Honky Tonk red brush down, and I'm going to pick up my Florida orange brush, grab my misting bottle, and it's still wet a little bit, but I'm using this to reactivate the paint. I want to get a little bit of a blend here. More of a gradient. See how pretty that is? Okay. Okay, so you know that I'm from, obviously, Fort Myers, Florida, where it's really hot. Where are y'all from? Whew. A trick to the blending, generally, is you take a dry brush and you go back, and it helps to blend where it's still a little bit wet, but it's drying so fast out here that I don't really need that. Okay, I'm not happy the way this looks. It's a little stark. You can see there's too much definition. It should be seamless. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to blend until it's a little bit more seamless. Pardon the wind. Hopefully it's not affecting the microphone too bad. This is when you really need that mister bottle to reactivate the paint that is dried. Okay. All right, I just want to give it kind of an even. It's still a little stark here, so I'm going to spray it with that, but I'm going to use my dry brush to kind of absorb. There we go. You ever get too much paint, spray it and then use a dry brush and it'll kind of absorb. All right, so now this is pretty and all, but you know what? I want to jazz it up just a little bit. So, Peony. Such a fun name to say. We'll throw a little bit in the cup. And I'm going to just take one of the Dixie Belle premium chip brushes, step up and hopefully not fall. And, whoa, I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to add it right here. I'm going to spread it out, and it is drying pretty fast, so it's blending really nice, but still not blending perfect. So I'm going to go back and use my misting bottle, take a fresh brush, clean one, and I'm going to hit it just a little bit with the mister, and I'm going to make it a little bit more where it's just a highlight. Whew. I know, but it adds just a little bit of color. I'm going to do it to a few more places. And I'm hoping there's no snakes or anything in these bushes that I'm standing in. It's all right. I do have my boots on. Oh, jeez. All right, so take my mister. Dry my brush off. I want to wet that down just a little bit because I want to make sure I get it You only want to see highlights of it. You don't want to see where it's everywhere. All right, so I'm going to add some more. I'm going to add some down here. I'm going to add a little bit heavier down here because I want it to be a little bit more pronounced. What do you think? Do you love the color choice? Is it so much brighter? Okay, my mister. I'm hoping my microphone is still working. Okay. Okay. Wow. Love, 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 love. I'm not sure how well you can see the color combination, but like I said earlier, I will definitely be adding close-up pictures. And some more. Make sure my brush is dry. And I just want to feather that out because I want it to just be a simple highlight. Okay, so I do have the pink with the red, but you know what? I feel like it's missing a little bit of orange. So I'm going to blend in a little bit of the orange. Oh. Yes. Just to remind you, I am outdoors. So, okay. So I'm going to add a little bit, just a little bit up top here. Now my brushes are kind of getting dried and because it's so hot out here. But like I said, this sign was too big to bring inside. I got too much paint on there. If you have too much paint on your brush, just simply take it off with a rag. Spread it out. It blends pretty well like that, but of course, it'll blend a lot better. Dry brush and a little bit of water. Ah, see how pretty that is? Again, if you're watching this on the replay, like later, because I know a lot of you work, make sure you comment replay. Tell me what you think of the colors. Okay, so it looks like this is pretty dry. I'm going to try to stick my stencil on. Should be fine. All right, let's have some fun. I am going to close up my paints though because they're going to get ruined if I leave them in the sun too long and dry out. My brush is already going to have surgery by scrubby soap. I'm going to put them in the shade. All right. So the first one I have is I'm going to do Pickin, because again, we rebranded last year to Pickin Boots. I simply cut a stencil with my Cricut. If you don't have a Cricut, I'm sure you have a friend that has a Cricut. If you don't have a friend that has a Cricut, Etsy, cheap. And this is simply their, I don't know what brand it was, I forget, but it's the stencil cut vinyl. It's a little windy out here, so I need to go a little slow. Because what I definitely don't want to happen is for the stencil to stick to each other. And then I have to recut the stencil again. All right, there's this. Now, most people would have already measured, but I'm more of an eyeballer, so I'm going to eyeball it here. And I'm simply going to lay it and pray that it is semi-straight. And hoping that, let's see, oh, hold on. Let's see, hope it sticks. Ah, okay, it's gonna work. Whew. Let me just go back and make sure I apply pressure. Man, the metal's really hot. Yes. Okay, so as I'm taking off my transfer tape, I'm going back and make sure I'm applying pressure, because the last thing I need is for, bleed through. Now normally when I do a stencil like this, I would use a layer of clear coat before I paint, because what the clear coat does is it'll give you a blockage, I guess you could say, kind of like when you use Mod Podge, but I use a clear coat. That way the paint doesn't go underneath. It creates a layer. All right, there we go. Oops, one more. Okay, so here is my first stencil. Just going to give it a rub down. I'm going to make sure it's all adhered. Anybody guess what color I'm going to use? It's a big decision. I didn't know which way to go, but I'm still not sure. I'm either going to do white with a black shadow or black with a white shadow. Let's see, what should we do? What should we do? I think I'll go, there's my dabber. We're going to go white with a black shadow. So, I'm using cotton. And I just have a regular old dopper, and I'm going to just, it's called pounce. I'm going to pounce on. You want to make sure you don't have too much paint on there, otherwise, yes, absolutely it will go under. So I'm going to hit it and just pounce it. And I'm not really particular that I want these letters to be perfect because I want them to look a little worn. I want it to look like it's an older sign. I should have brought a water out here. And another thing what you want to consider is when you're using these stencils, you definitely want to pull your stencil up while the paint is still wet. Sometimes when you pull it up and it's already dried, it could actually pull up the other paint that's around it. I know, it might be dry by the time I... Okay, I'm going fast. All right. Anyway, regardless, the new storefront sign has a much bigger, more apropos font, and it's just more fun to look at. At night, I do have a light down here that lights it up, so. Oh my God. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bit more and make sure I have complete coverage. And hopefully I don't have it too thick in certain areas where I have bleed through. And if I do have bleed through, I simply can either use a razor blade, scrape it off. I can take the Florida orange, paint over it with my paintbrush, sand it off. There's lots of options. Okay, let's take it off and see. Oh yeah, looking good. Let me grab the center of the P real quick. And the K that didn't come off. Wow, what a huge difference. Simply bigger font, brighter color. How long? Okay, so since we're having good luck, we may as well continue. Now I'm going to add the bottom part to it. Boots. Again, this is a Jeep Willy door. A friend of mine who used to be a vendor in the store is from Wisconsin. And actually we went up there, which was awesome. We had such a great time. Me and my girlfriend Kitty, girlfriend like friend, but we went up and visited her, and it was awesome. We had so much fun. Okay, again I'm eyeballing. And it will not be perfect, but it will be mine. All right. Ooh. Putting that down, you can actually see the ombre of the beautiful colors. I love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm going to give it a rub. It's so hot. The door's hot. Oh. So I'm on the lip here. I'm going to pick my stencil up just a hair and make sure that I'm able to push it down where it's in the lip where the paint will not come underneath it. And for all of you locals that are watching, see my hat? Gulf Shore Life. 4 years in a row, Best of Gulf Shore. Thank you. All right. Let's peel it off and hopefully it'll stay. Looking good. Oops. Like I said, it's a little hot out here and these things are probably getting a little melty. I have no idea what temperature it is now, but it's definitely 90 something. All I know is that I'm happy, to have a business, and we are actually able to be open, and we have awesome customers here in Fort Myers, Florida, supporting local. I cannot be happier. That's it. Feels like it's like 107. All right, we're getting closer. Now you can see that this is kind of stark white here. I'm not going to leave it like that. I'm going to shadow it in with Dixie Belle Caviar black paint. Blah. Let me push it down to make sure that there's no paint going to leak through my stencil. All right, and then I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cotton and I'm just going to pounce it just like I did before. Hopefully that's not too dried out where it's, nope, it's okay. Just using a dauber, going to put it in and I'm going to pounce. Now, normally I would gator hide this sign because it's outdoors so it can, weather, because in Florida we have torrential rain or scorching sun. No in between. I kid you, no. Sometimes we have beautiful 65-degree weather and that's the perfect day. But other than that, we have very harsh weather here. And I'm going to leave it unsealed just for a little while because I want some natural weathering to occur so it looks like a pretty accurate, like authentic old door. I know you have all seen those old trucks that have, like towing or hardware, and they have all these, they're cool names, but they're just perfectly distressed. Hi. So I'm going to leave it uncovered for a little while, and then when I get it to the perfect age look that I'm going for, I'll gator hide it. Whew. This one might not be as neat as the other one. I'm just literally melting. All right, so let's pull this off while it's still wet. Again, you want to pull your stencil off while it's wet. Yes, I love it. So much prettier and brighter. Okay, so I'm going to pull these off. Normally you want to wait till the middle is kind of dry so you don't smear, but look at the difference. Way better, right? Give me a heart or a thumbs up or whatever you want, smiley face, if you think that this is way better. I did really like the blues and the Colonel Mustard that had it before. It just blended too much with my scenery and my background, so we wanted something that's going to stick out. I do have another part where it says established 2012 and vintage. However, you get the general idea of how it works. It's entirely way too out here. So what I am going to do real quick is I'm just going to show you how I'm going to highlight the letters. Okay, I've got caviar, and I'll just use the lid because I really don't need that much. You do want to make sure that your brush is a little bit stiff. You don't want a real soft one or you won't get that a nice clean line. And I'm going to pretend, well, I don't need to pretend, but the sun, like it's beaming down, so I'll have the angle of the shadow, which will be on this side. So I'm going to do a letter just to show you. I was practicing earlier with another color, and so the brush is a little stiff, so I just got to make it a little bit more pliable just for a quick second. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to add a little bit of fun highlight just so it sticks out even more. I hope you all can see it from the camera. If not, of course, like I've said several times before, I will be taking pictures and I'll post it on here, or if you feel inclined, you can follow me on Facebook. My name is Pickin Boots Vintage. And every Tuesday I go live with a Technique Tuesday, and I think you kind of can see the general idea. I am going to come back and work on this more when it's not as hot, and I can tolerate it a little bit more. Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on the Dixie Belle page. This is my shop door sign. I had a great time painting it. I'm not done, but I will post pictures when I am. I will be live again. I believe it's Tuesday the 23rd at 9 p.m., which is going to be rough for me because I go to bed at 9 p.m., but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but it'll be fun. If you know anybody that would be interested in something like this, please share or tag them. Hashtag replay. And thank you so much. You guys have a fabulous day, and I'm going into the air conditioning. It was so bright you can't see.